Hello, and welcome to Health Talk, a show where we dive into common health challenges with local experts to bring you the information that you need to live your best, healthiest life. My name is Dr. Desmar Walks, family physician and local health authority for Austin-Travis County. In today's episode, we will discuss pool and water safety with a special guest expert who is a passionate advocate for water safety awareness and education. The World Health Organization has reported that drowning is the third leading cause of unintentional injury and death worldwide, accounting for 7% of all injury-related deaths. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services reported that in 2024, there were 103 fatal drownings for children 17 years of age and younger. Further, it is estimated that there are 7 times more non-fatal drownings than fatal drownings in children ages 1 to 15. Wow. Our guest today is Jennifer Poteat, Executive Director of Colin Holst. Colin Holst is an Austin-based nonprofit organization that exists to raise awareness around water safety for young children. It was formed in 2008 after 4-year-old Colin Holst drowned in a public pool. The organization aims to provide water safety awareness, education, and resources to prevent children from drowning. Poteat joined the organization in early 2023 as its executive director, and she serves as the regional ambassador for the Texas Hospital Association Foundation, serving member hospitals throughout Texas with a focus on the Houston region and the Texas Medical Center. She earned a BA at the University of South Carolina, an executive master's in public leadership from the LBJ School of Public Affairs, and she has a master's of public health care transformation and a co-degree from the Dell Medical School and the McCombs School of Business. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
So great to have you today.
Thank you so much. We're going to talk about having fun while being around water today.
Yes, we are.
I promise.
We are. Well, let's start off with some questions. Can you tell us a little bit about the mission of Colin Holst and why it was created?
At Colin Holst, we envision a world where children do not drown. And so, as you mentioned, we use resources, education, public and community outreach, any way that we can get out the message that layers of protection and knowing about water safety could potentially prevent drowning. So you mentioned that in 2008, 4-year-old Colin, a beautiful brunette boy, had gone to a public swimming pool. That pool was a beautiful sunny day in June. He had completed swim lessons just the day before. Mm-hmm. But I have a question. I mean, aren't little kids like rubber bands? Like, they really don't have muscle memory. So we talk about importance of swim safety a little bit later. But what happened is that Colin got into the pool behind his big sister as a group. And so he got into the shallow end and followed him in. It was not recognized that he was drowning. And even though that there were lifeguards present, he was not recognized. And so unfortunately, his family found out that day in 2008 the statistic that drowning is the leading cause of death for children between the ages of 1 and 4.
That's such a sad story. And we're so glad that Colin's Hope exists for the work that you're doing and for you to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What is the technical definition of drowning and how quickly can it happen? Why is raising awareness around this topic so important? I think you've touched on that.
So drowning is a submersion injury. And as a doctor, you know that it's suffocation that occurs when you are in a fluid environment. Mm-hmm. And it can either be fatal or non-fatal. And truthfully, it can happen in as few as 20 seconds. Little kids have small lungs, you know, so it's something that you need to be aware of because a quick reaction is so paramount. You know, the Holst family had given Colin swimming lessons. She was a mom, Jana, and Jeff is the dad. They had done everything in their home. The blinds didn't have cords, all the other safety precautions. So if it can happen to the Holsts, we want to make sure that everybody needs to know, you know, distractions today, if the statistic is still the same today, Dr. Walks, I mean, with population and everything, why is the statistic still the same? It's many years later. Well, think about all the distractions that we have in our life.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of common misconceptions about drowning and water safety. So can you elaborate a little bit about what is water safety all about, really?
Water safety is being about prevention, knowing the risks, especially for age. What are the things that you and your family can do? As I said, we want you to have fun, but be safer around water. And so there's a lot of misconceptions when you see movies about drowning. People are splashing and screaming. And you know that if you are in a respiratory impairment, you can't use your vocal cords. Drowning is fast. It can happen in as few as 20 seconds, but it's also silent.
It's silent. That's key. I think people think about people calling for help, but they don't have the lung capacity to do that.
Correct.
So besides the obvious places for water danger, what are some of the common places for drowning risks that parents and guardians aren't thinking about?
So we have in our homes bathtubs, toilets. There's often a bucket. You don't think about these things. And, you know, if you live in Houston, there's canals because those bayous have to send the water somewhere. And even in Texas, in South Texas, we've had children unfortunately drown in a horse trough. So anywhere that your child can have access to water is potentially a place that you need to make sure that you either drain that backyard pool, you have the little waders, empty it out. Keep the toilet lids with the locks, and then after a bath, be sure to drain the water immediately.
So tips for water safety are things that I'd like to cover right now. Let's talk about each type of water and what parents should be aware of. For starters, can you tell us about bathtub safety? How can parents ensure that kids are safe in bathtubs?
So as I mentioned, we have a lot of distractions, and so Colin's Hope has a lot of resources. I'll hit on a few of those. One of those is our ruler. It's a bathtub cleaning. It goes into the base of the tub and it's got a ruler, but it measures 2 inches because we say this 2 under 2. If you have a 2-year-old or younger, 2 inches of water or less. And then making sure that you never walk away, avoiding those distractions. We get those alerts on our phone and it can turn around. And what did we say earlier? 20 seconds. So my HEB order needs an updating. 20 seconds plus has gone by, and then draining that tub immediately. So, but always thinking about preparation. We know lives are so hectic, but before you walk into the bath and put the child in the bathtub, do you have the towels, the shampoo, all of those kind of things? Because if you're missing the towel, just drain the tub, pick the kid up, go to the laundry room, get that towel, and then mop up that spill. Those droplets can be wiped up later. It's just important to never leave a child unattended in a bathtub.
Truly. What about public pool safety? Are there certain things parents and guardians should be on the lookout for when they're going to or near an area that's got a public pool?
So pools can be extremely busy and chaotic. So again, you're going to walk into this environment with a mindset ahead of time. You're going to have to look and see, are there lifeguards? But remember, lifeguards aren't babysitters. So even with Colin, there were lifeguards on duty. Make sure you have that water watcher. We have these water watcher cards that put something around your wrist so that you're watching, because we want to make sure that there's constant supervision. When you get to the pool, make sure you know where are those safety measures. The ring buoy The red and white, should be somewhere close by in case you need to throw that in. There should be a shepherd's hook. It's a long pole that can easily get someone out of the deep end. Look around, make sure you know where those things are. Also know the address of the location that you're going to be in case there needs to be an emergency call. So make sure you have that identified prior to going into the water.
Very good. It's summertime in Texas.
Yes.
And many children have access to backyard pools. How can parents and guardians ensure children are safe in backyards with pools? And what questions should they be asking homeowners when they go to visit or when they send their child over for a sleepover?
So, yeah, there's 800,000 plus residential pools in the state of Texas. We need respite from the heat that is 100 days. Or 100-degree days. So the thing that you need to do is make sure that when you're going to a pool that they have markers for depth, because you want to know, you don't really want to dive in, but we always say feet first. We always recommend that. So know the depth of the pool. If your child is not a strong swimmer, give them that life jacket. But then also making sure that they stay in the shallow end. And if they are not a strong swimmer, make sure that adult stays within arm's reach. Again, all home pools should also have those rescue tools, that ring buoy, that shepherd's hook, because we want to make sure that if a child is missing and it's not playtime, it's not swim time, that you check that pool first. But always making sure that you have your eyes on the pool environment, making sure it's not cloudy. Chlorine and chemicals can be hazardous as well, but then also know how many adults are going to be around. We have a saying, never swim alone, but you never want children to be unsupervised. So making sure that there is a capable adult that is supervising at all times. And if the adult needs to go in, take a phone call, do work, or kids come out of the pool. That's the rule.
Absolutely. Lastly, open bodies of water like lakes, beaches, rivers, they present different dangers, right? What are some tips about open water safety, and what do parents need to be aware of?
So you mentioned that open water is different. It is murky often. You know, I'll ask you this. If you ever go down to Lady Bird Lake, you can't swim in it. There's a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons why.
Yes, but there's a lot of debris underneath there, so you never know what you can't see under the water. So if you're also like in a swimming hole or a river, lake, just make sure you always stay hydrated, and then be careful, because especially if like you're on a boat and you're out in the sun all day, you get so dehydrated, you often misperceive the distance back to shore. And so what if you get a leg cramp or something happens? So just being conscious of what that environment is. You never know the depth either. So I said earlier, you don't want to really dive into a pool. You definitely don't want to dive into an open body of water. You never know what the depth is, and
or
so
what's in the water.
Exactly. So some of those are tips, and then we talked about beaches a little bit. Rip currents occur very much along the Texas Gulf Coast. One tip that we tell people is that when you encounter a rip current, you don't necessarily see it. You can figure out from shore what it looks like, because the water has to come together. If you get caught in a rip current, to your best ability, remember the 3 F's. Flip on your back, float, and follow, because that current's going to knock you down the beach a little bit, but you can always walk back to where your beach towel and umbrella are.
Very good advice. What should guardians be asking when they're sending their children to a place where there's an open body of water, like a summer camp?
So the first thing that parents need to make sure that any recreational area, public, private, you need to check and test the swim skills. Some places that you go, municipalities will actually test the child and say, okay, that's a great swimmer, and they'll put on wristbands. And you'll see that sometimes now, and it's great because it's like a red, yellow, green, or whatever system it is. And if it's red, then they say the parent has to stay with or be in the water within arm's reach. So making sure that the facility that you're visiting knows your child's swimming abilities so that they have that information. Wearing life jackets is always great. There's certain places here in town, Austin Sunshine Camps, they always wear life jackets, and they only go like maybe knee deep into Barton Springs. So life jackets are always great. And then to that point of having kids really enjoy the water, we need to know the number of counselors per child. That needs to be a low ratio. You can't have 1 or 2 counselors for 20 or 30 kids. That's not appropriate. So asking those questions about how many counselors, lifeguards, and instructors are going to be present for the number of kids in our group. That's safety.
Great advice. Prevention. How old can a child be when they start swimming lessons?
We recommend 6 months.
Oh, good. And before children are able to take lessons, are there tools that parents should use to teach kids themselves?
Well, swimming lessons create confidence. They improve motor skills, so they're just part of the natural growth. And adapting to new environments is something we want kids as early as 6 months to learn. But they can start making their child comfortable around water. So when we're talking about bath time, because if you try to get a child into swim lessons and they don't like water in their face or their ears or their nose, you're going to have a really hard time getting them to adapt. So making them comfortable in the water, and then staying close to them and making them feel comfortable. And then when you begin swim lessons at that early age, like 6 months, it's recommended that it's one-on-one swim lessons with the parent in the water. So that's another level of comfort.
To help that comfort, yeah. Do you have recommendations for the types of swimming lessons a child should take? And are there specific resources or certifications that swimming instructors should hold before teaching swim lessons?
We have lots of certifications that allow you to do your job, and so we
Yes.
recommend that all swim instructors, lifeguards have their certifications as well. I'll say that the American Red Cross is the one that is mostly known. They've been around for, I'm sure, 100 years teaching water safety and lessons. Their curriculum has been adapted, but American Red Cross, it's called a WSI, a water safety instructor. That's one, and that's the foundation for the others. The other ones, like the YMCA, they have learned to swim. That is an adaptive of the American Red Cross, and then Starfish Aquatics. But again, it's important that they have those low ratios, and that is specific to each of the grade levels or the age levels. So American Red Cross recommends that if the kids are older than 5 years of age, then you can have 6 or fewer kids with one instructor. And so then as ages go lower, that ratio reduces. And so that's one important skill or one standard that you need to make sure that they follow.
And also being there with your child in the water to provide that comfort.
Yeah.
What should parents do when their children are in the water?
Well, being a supervisor is critical. We teach lessons that say that kids should wait for a grown-up. And that's important because we say, hey, you need to wash. Yes, we have a book. It is bilingual. We are supporting the bilingual community. And so waiting for a grown-up says that the kids have to ask permission before they get to water, whether that's the bathtub or the lake or the pool. But then the onus is on us as adults to watch, because if everyone's watching, then no one's watching. And so I mentioned that Colin drowned even though people were watching. So what we say is that if you're going especially to a busy pool, keep your kids in bright colored clothing. Take pictures of them before they get there, especially if you're going to a water park, something like one of our big water parks that have the slides and all that. Take a picture of the kid before you let them go into the water so that you know what they look like, because it's usually they're just somewhere around the corner. But if you show somebody, hey, I'm looking for this kid, somebody's going to have eyes on them pretty quickly. But having those kind of the preparation, as I mentioned before, you need to be watching your child. When you walk in, you need to know, where is the ring buoy? Where's the shepherd's hook? Where are the lifeguards? Are they changing position every I think it's like 45 minutes, depending on the location. But they're doing that for a purpose, because if you and I sit at our computer, after about 45 minutes staring at the same document or screen, we're going to start to kind of miss things. So watch to see that they're doing those kinds of things while you're around. Also, if any person, adult or child, is underwater for more than 20 or 30 seconds, just assume, unless they're swimming laps, just assume that they need to have someone intervene, because you cannot hold your breath. We also make sure that we teach children, don't hold your breath for a long time. You know, those are, hypoxic blackout is something that can really happen. So we just teach, swim, have fun, but don't do anything dangerous while you're in there.
Right, right. You touched on this just now, but can you elaborate on how you can identify that a person may be drowning?
We said earlier, drowning silent, but drowning also can look like play. And what happens is, if you are trying to get your mouth and your nose above water, you're going to do something. So if we were on land, we would try to push ourselves up. Well, because water and buoyancy, it's going to resist. And you're going to be up for just a second, so you end up bobbing. And so that's what drowning looks like. But the person that is experiencing drowning, it often looks like they're trying to climb a ladder. Because like I said, they're trying to get up above the water, but the surface tension of the water will not allow them to get up. So it often looks like play or someone climbing a ladder.
And if you see a person, especially a child who may be drowning, what should you do?
Well, if you don't know how to swim, the first thing I want to say is know where that ring buoy is. We told you to do that. We always have another saying: reach, throw, don't go. If you're within arm's reach, please reach down, grab. Make sure you reach down and you're stable. Throw. That is going to be that ring buoy. Or say you're on a boat. A lot of those coolers float these days. And then don't go. If you don't know how to swim, don't go. Please always swim near lifeguards, especially at the beach. You can have that person respond. They're going to have the tools, the flotation devices, those kind of things, and the skills. So we say reach, throw, don't go, and then call for attention and help.
Call for help, yeah. What complications can occur after a child experiences a drowning incident?
So often it's going to be respiratory, neurological, physiological. The damage that occurs after a child has been submerged in water, it depends upon the time
and severity.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's it for my questions, but I do have one more. I have to take that back. I do have one more.
Great.
Do you have any resources that you'd recommend for our audience?
Absolutely. So I mentioned that we try to teach kids to wait for the grown-up and that the grown-up should watch them. That's part of our curriculum. It's called Water Safety with Colin and Friends. It's free. It's bilingual. It can be found on our website. It's drowningispreventable.org. It's super fun. I would recommend that you go. The one on life jackets is cute. We teach kids not only to wear a life jacket, that it should fit snug like a hug, because that's important as well, but we teach them floating and sinking, because we know that kids really want to, like, water safety and injury prevention is something we can teach along with other scientific theories. So in that video, and again, it's English and Spanish, whichever version, we put an orange into a fish tank full of water. And the orange has its peel on it, so it's just like the life jacket. And so it floats. Guess what? We take the peel off, and spoiler alert, it sinks. And so that teaches the kids why that life jacket. So drowningispreventable.org, that's a free online resource. We do have the book, The Wait for a Grown-Up.
Yes, and it is in English and Spanish, Wait for a Grown-Up. That is something that you should definitely go to your website and look for.
Absolutely. Yes. Also, those water safety cards, this little wristlet is like the size of a credit card. So when we're talking about that constant supervision, a lot of us, like me, are very active. So when you're watching your children, you know that you're wearing this. And this little, like I said, it's a little credit card size. It's got Colin's story, and then also has all these layers of protection that we talked about, the fences and the barriers and all those things. But when you need to go take that phone call or use the restroom, you hand that water watcher badge off to another capable adult, and they become the water watcher. So
and it makes it serious.
Well, it's
It makes
ownership.
it like, yeah.
Ownership's on you, because we
Yeah.
say all the time, if everyone's watching, then no one's watching. So I said earlier, do you know when you go to the pool, and if it's in your backyard, how many kids are in the pool at all times? Counting is great. It's but making sure that you have that ownership, and then when you need to walk away, you hand that off. We have bookmarks that go with the book, and it has a little place that you and your family can talk about your water safety plan. So when you're going to go to the water park, what are we going to do? Is there a place that we're going to meet up in case everybody kind of gets lost? Where's that one spot we need to, And so, just simple things that you can do as a family. And then because of the unfortunate number of drownings in bathtubs, 2023, we experienced 24 kids in bathtubs in the state of Texas. And so this cute little sticker, it's bath time with Buddy, because Colin's got his little friend Buddy that's a seal. And it measures 6 inches, but it tells you to stop the water at 2 inches. So that 2 under 2 reminds you to never walk away. And like I said, this can go in your bathtub, or if you're visiting family or grandparents and they're bathing the child, throw one of theirs in their sink or their bathtub, and it reminds them as well.
Yes, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for today's episode of Health Talk. A big thank you to our guest, Jennifer Poteat, for sharing her expertise, passion, and her valuable experience with us. We want the listeners to know that they can go to Colin's Hope for more information and resources on drowning prevention and water safety at www.colinshope.org. Again, that's www.colinshope.org. And don't forget, we want to hear from you. What topics do you want to learn more about? There's a survey on KAZI's website and on KAZI's Facebook page where you can tell us what resonates with you and share your feedback with us. Thanks again to KAZI 88.7 on your dial and to St. David's Foundation for supporting this program and giving us the time to get this information to you. Then until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. This is Dr. Desmar Walk signing off. Be well.